We'll transition live now to a briefing with House Speaker John Boehner and Republican leaders talking to reporters about issues. This is just getting underway.
For them to verify that he's married so that he can claim his benefits. And guess what? He's been married for 49 years. Meanwhile, over at the VA, there's no accountability, only business as usual. You know, at the VA facility in Dayton, Ohio, hundreds of patients were exposed to hepatitis B and C. And while this was under investigation, the director of the hospital collected a 5-figure bonus. And then he was promoted. You know, I thought I'd seen the worst of government, but this goes beyond the pale. If you're presiding over a bureaucracy that's failing our veterans, you shouldn't be receiving bonuses. You should be gone. It's time to clean up this mess to bring real accountability to the Veterans Administration. And soon the House will act to do just that. To talk about more about this, the chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee from Florida, Jeff Miller.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for everybody that has come today in support of this piece of legislation. Also to my senator from Florida, Marco Rubio, thank you for being here. This is very important. And I think, first of all, we need to say that for the 300,000 plus people that work at VA every day, they do their job for the right reason. But the problem that we've been having with the Department of Veterans Affairs as of late is there's no transparency and there's no accountability. I just left a hearing with the Deputy Secretary, Sloan Gibson, talking about the delay in providing information to the committee so that we can do our oversight responsibility. We have requests for information into the department that date some 660 days that we have received absolutely no response. Then we talk about those people that have been involved in issues where there have been preventable deaths at hospitals around the country. And it's easier for those people to receive a bonus than it is for them to actually be fired. And what we're trying to do with this piece of legislation is very simple. It's to give the Secretary the tools that he needs in order to make very important decisions. The safety of our veterans is paramount. Service to our veterans is paramount. But we cannot continue to promote people who have not done their job and give them bonuses even when there have been preventable deaths at their facilities.
Good morning. First, I want to thank Speaker Boehner, Chairman Miller, Senator Rubio for their hard work and support in reforming this mismanaged department. I'm happy to be carrying this bill of H.R. 4031, the Department of Veteran Affairs Management and Accountability Act of 2014. The words veteran and backlog should never be used in the same sentence. These brave men and women and their families never hesitated when they were called upon to serve this country, and there is no excuse for delayed benefits and care. This is simply unacceptable. The recent news that at least 31 deaths at VA medical centers nationwide were completely preventable is only the tip of the iceberg of the complete mismanagement of this department. We must do everything in our power to make sure this never happens again. This is a very straightforward measure. It provides greater accountability in the VA by giving the Secretary the authority to fire those top executives for these historic failures within this department. Our veterans and our families deserve nothing but the best. I look forward to working with my colleagues to see this bill passed into law.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Congressman Miller and everyone for joining us and being a part of this effort. You know, I think all Americans deserve and expect a government that's both accountable and effective. But I know Americans that deserve that more than the men and women who sacrifice and risk their lives in the service of their country. These are men and women who sometimes are away from their families for months or years at a time, who face mortal danger in the defense of our liberties and our freedoms and the liberty and freedoms of others, who undergo tremendous sacrifices their families do when they're away. And when they return home, we've promised them a set of services that we provide the men and women who have served us. And this is the agency, the Veterans Administration, that's responsible for delivering those services. And as Congressman Miller outlined a moment ago, the vast majority of the casework we're now getting in our offices in Florida, a significant majority of the casework we're now getting, is related to Veterans Affairs and to the inability of this department to effectively and accountably deliver the services that these men and women have earned through their service to our country. What this bill does is pretty straightforward. It allows the Secretary, it allows the Secretary of the Department to be able to fire and hold accountable senior executive officials within the department when, in fact, there's breakdown in accountability. It's the exact same thing that exists in the private sector. It exists in our congressional offices, but it does not exist in a government agency of this importance. Let me reiterate what's already been said. The enormous and vast majority of the 300,000 men and women who work in this agency work hard and do a great job. But like any organization, there's going to be breakdowns, and when there are, people need to be held accountable, especially at the senior management level. And the people we entrust with running this agency should have the power to fire and discipline those who have let down the men and women who have served us in uniform. And so I hope that as the House acts on this measure, that in the Senate, my colleagues across the aisle will see the importance of it and act quickly as well.
Good morning. My name is Pete Hegseth. I'm the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America. I'm honored to be here. Our group, Concerned Vets for America, is honored to be here, and we're very appreciative of all the representatives standing up here. Speaker Boehner, for your leadership on this issue and shining a light on it, which is badly needed. Chairman Miller, for really having the moral clarity to focus like a laser beam on this issue. We couldn't have a better House co-sponsor to move this bill forward. Senator Rubio, for carrying it in the Senate. We really appreciate your leadership in doing so. I don't know what it is about Florida, but you guys got our backs there on this issue, and we really appreciate it. And Representative Walorski, McMorris Rogers, I really appreciate the speech you gave last week that highlights the issues at the Department of Veterans Affairs. I also want to thank the other veterans organizations here that we're proud to work with on this bill. The American Legion, Iraq and Afghanistan Vets for America, AMVETS, folks that have been stalwarts on this issue for a long time, and we're honored to stand beside them to demand accountability at the Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm not here just to speak on my behalf, on behalf of our groups, or on behalf of this group standing behind us that have been on the Hill for the last 2 days holding meetings. I think I can say I'm here speaking on behalf of millions of veterans in this country who feel like second-class citizens in their own system. We're here for all those veterans who file a claim and then wait and wait and wait. Or they call a VA hotline and they sit on hold for hours. Or they ask for a medical appointment and they don't get it for months. Or unfortunately, they're supposed to get care and they don't get it, and so they die waiting for care at the Department of Veterans Affairs. It's unacceptable, and we believe it's time for transparency, a time for accountability, and time for just results at a department that is woefully underperforming. That's why we fully support H.R. 4031, and we're putting our full weight behind it because the status quo at VA is completely unacceptable. Those who try to access, or I should say attempt to access care, are met by an impenetrable, unaccountable, and woefully ineffective bureaucracy. It would give the folks at the top, the VA Secretary, the simple tool to fire poor performers. And this is not about massive bad, as many have said, this is not about the massive bad employees at VA. Most VA employees are fantastic employees. What this does is it empowers the Secretary to get rid of those who set the wrong tone and maintain the status quo which has been failing our vets for so long. So far from being an attack on dedicated public servants, it would instead empower and attract the very best. So in closing, the key question before this Congress on this issue of VA accountability is simple. Who will you stand with? The veterans who are being underserved, or bureaucrats and managers who cannot be fired? And we think this group and this Congress, the answer to that is crystal clear. Mr. Speaker, thanks for having us today.
Good morning. My name is Louis Celli. I'm the National Legislative Director for the American Legion. In 1918, when World War I ended, there was no national